Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in a resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow your eyelids to close. With your eyes closed, notice you can focus more on the sound of my voice. Any other sounds in your environment, just enable them to be there, floating away like clouds in the sky. As you breathe in, perhaps you can feel the sensation of air going in through your nostrils, your chest expanding, perhaps even your diaphragm expanding. And as you exhale, notice your shoulders start to loosen. Feel a wonderful feeling of relaxation. As breath by breath, you feel like you're drifting to a place where we can amplify normal, natural, human phenomenon like decision-making, prioritization. As you breathe in and breathe out, I want you to think of just one time in your life that you decided to make a change, and you did. And perhaps it was a recent moment, or perhaps longer ago. But as you breathe in deeper than you normally would. And as you exhale for longer, feeling a release of any tension, any stress, any worries. Your jaw loosens, any tension around your forehead or temple starts to loosen and relax. That's it. And think of that time where all it took perhaps was a thought. Enough is enough. If not now, then when? And perhaps you thought of what would happen if you didn't change, and all the benefits you would get if you did. And that's all it took. You made that decision, and you did things differently. And in that moment, your life took a very slight shift in trajectory. That in day one, not much was different. But after a week, you were going on a different course. And after a month or several months, you realized that that change, that decision, meant that you were a slightly different version of you in the past. And if you can recall that moment of change, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. As you accept what we all know to be true, that change is constant, that you couldn't stay the same even if you wanted to. You wear different clothes now to where you wore 10 years ago, 20 years ago. You like different music. There's things that you do now that you didn't used to do. Tastes are always changing. And I want you to get a sense that even things that look the same are always changing. I want you to imagine a beach, perhaps a beach that you know well. I want you to imagine a beach of miles of sand on a sunny day. And maybe you can see it from a promenade, or maybe you're imagining walking on the sand. And even though the beach looks the same, all of these grains of sand are in a completely different location to the last time you saw this beach. Things can look the same and be entirely different. So just imagine finding a place on this beach, looking out, perhaps seeing the sea, also acknowledging that the sea looks like the sea, and yet the waves in this exact sequence motion have never ever looked exactly this way. Things can look the same and be entirely different. And I want you to get a sense that as you have done in the past, looked into the sea and started daydreaming, and sometimes that slow, regular movement of waves just enables your mind to drift off into a state of reverie where it's easy to daydream. So as you stare into the sea, I want you to imagine what it would be like to drift back in time. And I want you to imagine what it would be like to go back in time to when you were perhaps just 10 or 11 years old. Go back there from the perspective as you, at your current age, seeing that 10 or 11-year-old version of you and their experiences with alcohol. I want you to see the availability of alcohol. See the unconscious role models. Maybe you can observe as seeing a child seeing their parents using alcohol to signify the end of a working day, as a crutch when stressed or anxious, used to celebrate, used to medicate pain. Just be the observer and see how insidious it was. Alcohol was accessible, offered. I want you to get a sense that that childlike version of you was very likely to try it, very likely to have positive associations of it. And I want you to get a new perspective. I want you to realize how much you've changed since that version of you. I want you to think of your own daughter. I want you to imagine the circumstances that you would offer your daughter vodka and Coca-Cola, wine or beers, and get a sense that your values are different from your parents. Your experiences were unique based on the time, the situation, the dynamics. And I want you to imagine seeing that 10 or 11-year-old version of you when they're on their own, perhaps in their bedroom. And I want you to imagine meeting that younger version of you and asking that young girl what alcohol means to them. And maybe they say things like fun, Maybe they say things like excitement. Just allow yourself to hear whatever you would have said back then if you were asked what alcohol means to you. Is it desirable? Does it mean connotations of being more grown up? Maturity? And then I want you to imagine being the mother to that child that you would be if you at that age were your own daughter. I want you to tell that child, based on your experiences of alcohol, what it really means. What would you have liked to have heard back then? What would have steered your life in a different direction? And if you could imagine saying those words, the words you needed to hear back then, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to get a sense that there was no balance back then. You were told what someone wanted you to hear from their experiences, their value system. I want you to imagine what it would be like to have a different belief system planted in the mind of that 10 or 11-year-old version of you. Some people believe that alcohol is a drug, like any other drug. Some people believe that alcohol is poison. Some people know that more people die of diseases linked to alcohol than die of violent things like being shot with a gun. Some people have connotations that alcohol is dangerous, addictive, can lead to bad sleep, bad health, numerous cancers and obesity. But I want you to plant a seed of a very specific belief in that younger version of you. Not that she had to believe at that time, but just the seed being planted that could form into a belief later. And if you know what belief you would have wanted that younger version of you to truly believe about alcohol, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And then I want you to imagine just giving that younger version of you a hug. Tell them that they are valuable, they are worthy, and that they don't need alcohol. They could choose to drink it, they just don't need it. And when they accept that, give them another hug and say goodbye. And find yourself back on that beach, staring into the sea. And then imagine yourself in your own home. Like you're still on that beach, but just imagine watching yourself, perhaps in your own kitchen, your own lounge. It's been a long, difficult day at work. And I want you to observe that version of you in the present, perhaps, pouring away wine like you've done before. But this time, it has a new connotation that you don't need it and you don't want it. And if you could imagine yourself pouring away the wine down a plug hole, let me know by nodding your head. And then imagine filling it up with water and putting it back in a wine fridge It now looks like wine, but you know it's water. And then imagine seeing yourself return from work, and at that same time that you would normally have that first glass of wine, see yourself pouring water into the exact cup, the exact size cup from that specific cupboard. And I want you to imagine what you're seeing right now is the equivalent of corrupting data, scratching a CD, so that normal automatic responses don't know what to do. See that version of you that can't do what you normally do because there is water in a wine glass and not wine. But I want you to imagine seeing yourself with an expression of curiosity. You are curious what you might think and feel, that your unconscious mind might be trying to goad you into going to a supermarket, going to a garage and buying a specific bottle of wine. And see that version of you that whatever comes up, thoughts and feelings, writing it down either on paper or perhaps in the notes function in an app. And if you can imagine that version of you using a period of a few days like reconnaissance, just let me know by nodding your head. And yet you see yourself night after night still drinking the water until you realize you don't need to be drinking anything. Before long, observe that element of why even open the bottle if it's just water in there anyway? Why pour it into the glass if it's just water in there anyway? And these are the exact thoughts that are laying the foundation of new neural pathways to break free of a habit that no longer serves you. Continue watching that version of you until there's one evening when there's no desire to pour the water. You've got all the knowledge you need from your own thoughts and feelings. And I want you to observe what you do differently. No need to pour anything. No need to pour water, no need to pour wine. And I want you to imagine seeing yourself spending more time with your daughter. Playing, having fun. See yourself having a conversation. See yourself walking the dogs. As the days turn into weeks and the weeks turn into months, see yourself enjoying the beach in the evenings. See yourself making the most of all of that time, and see yourself dealing with anxiety in different ways. Maybe fresh air helps you deal with the anxiety better than wine ever did. Maybe it's preparation or planning. Or maybe it's relaxing in a different way, watching a good movie or listening to music. Keep seeing different scenarios until you come to the natural conclusion that you never actually needed the wine, you just thought you did. And when you come to that conclusion, let me know by nodding your head. So imagine seeing yourself with a take it or leave it approach to wine. No longer drinking wine in the house, but perhaps seeing yourself the occasional glass of wine in the pub, with a nice meal in a restaurant, or catching up with friends you haven't seen for a while. But But imagine seeing yourself just having one or two, and that's enough. And if you could imagine that, extend that all the way out into the summer and see yourself driving to the beach, meeting up with other people that are drinking, and yet you don't need to. And most people are fully accepting of this new version of you. But notice an interesting polarity response. Those people that are trying to goad you, encourage you, coerce you into drinking creates exactly the opposite reaction. Anyone trying to get you to drink makes you not want to drink, and just see that version of you in the future. And when you see it and it feels like a possibility, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And imagine it's been 7 months where you've reduced the amount of alcohol you've been drinking by about 90% or more. Step into that version of you. Feel how healthy you feel. How well you've been sleeping. And how much more choice you have as to what you do with your evenings and all that extra time you have to spend with the people you love the most. And if this feels better than doing what you have been doing, let me know by nodding your head. It's time to return back to that beach, staring into the sea, feeling that something wonderful has changed. Because before any major decision gets made, it is first considered. And feel that you've considered a new future. And that starts with the next few days of turning wine into water, not to trick your brain, but to give yourself the opportunity to really think beyond habit as to whether or not it's something you even want at all. It's time to leave that beach. So take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Connect fully into the here and now. As very soon I count from 1 to 10 to awaken you, and you will awaken feeling resourceful, optimistic, feeling like you have already changed just based on today. And you're just amplifying those changes. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.